Hi there. Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. As you can tell by the music here, things have reached a fever pitch in court. We left off with a pretty important choice, and to be honest, I wasn't immediately sure what the right answer was based off what Ryunosuke was trying to get at. Because honestly, the whole thing with the bloodstain still kind of confuses me a little bit. But either way, I took the liberty of trying to, picking any random answer to see if there's any funny, failure responses. And I did find this one being, I don't know, it tickled me at least, so I'll showcase it for a moment. You say that you examined the body and wrote this report based on your findings. But that's a blatant lie, isn't it? Yeah, see, I got her on the ropes now. I'm sorry, but I simply can't fathom what you're attempting to say. Isn't it obvious, Dr. Scythe? Is that really your name? A coroner named Dr. Scythe? A little on the nose, don't you think? The truth is, you had your subordinates do the work for you, and they authored the report. But then you wield your superiority over them and claim the credit for yourself. Can you honestly say that's not what happened? Well, can ya, lady? Yes, I can honestly say that's not what happened. Oh, okay then. Well, I guess you win this one, Dr. Scythe. Well, good. Glad to hear it. Yeah, I'll guess we'll give her that one. What on earth were the purposes of exchange, Counsel? Will this farce never end? But there's no question that the coroner's testimony was, yeah, okay. I don't know, something about that just tickled me, like her deadpan response was pretty funny, and then Ryunosuke just being like, okay, cool. Like, I don't know, him, I know whenever he bumbles around, it's usually pretty funny in my opinion. But apparently the correct answer is the stabbing of the victim, I guess, because of the whole bloodstain directional analysis shit that all that. So we'll go with that. Honestly, like, I didn't even know that was going to be the right answer, but when I picked it the first time, it didn't penalize me, so I had to go back and see what the wrong ones were first, because, I don't know, it's fun seeking out that incorrect dialogue, because you do get some funny exchanges. The answer is very simple if you consider the sequence of events. If, when the victim was stabbed, the blood from the wound seeped downwards, as it did, we can be sure that the victim must have been either sitting or standing upright at the time. Yeah, I suppose. Because of, like, gravity and stuff. But as you rightly pointed out, the birdcage would have fallen on its side when it fell beneath the stage. Yes, it would. Which tells us that the victim must have been in that position of his own accord.
Objection!
But why? That's impossible! The man was dead, remember? No! That is a misapprehension. Ugh. Everyone's flummoxed. When the birdcage fell from the stage into the void below, it must have hit the ground with considerable force. Yeah, presumably. But he probably wasn't, like, dead. But Mr. Assman didn't die in the fall. Here he is. He's coming. He's coming for me. He probably lost consciousness for a while, but when he came round, he got to his feet to climb out of the cage. Just as Dr. Scythe appeared. But didn't he break his neck? Oh, I guess maybe that was the part that was forged, But then again, I guess breaking your neck isn't always immediately fatal, or doesn't always equal immediate paralysis. If the victim was in fact alive at that point in time, It changes everything. I mean, yeah, I would say so. Stab. Ah. Ah! What are you screaming about, Enoch? Mr. Odie Asman's killer wasn't the defendant, Professor Albert Hairbrain, nor was it the mastermind behind the stage trickery, Mr. Enoch Drebber. It was you, Dr. Courtney Scythe. Gah. Ah. Well, damn. Yeah, that did seem to be what we were kind of hinting at before, but now he's just coming out and saying it. Order! 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 Can this possibly be true? Have you been taking me for a fool? Okay, but I need... No, that's not what he sounded like. Again, finding a voice for him is tricky. It was you, was it? You killed him? Well, like, you didn't know? Like, I thought you two were in cahoots. You hoped that by admitting to being an accomplice in Mr. Drebber's scheme, the trial would end before you were accused of a far worse crime. Cold-blooded murder. Oh, do shut up. You're so desperate now. You're making all this up. As if I would do something like that.
Objection!
Oh, hey, fucking Cesaro. Nice, you got your voice objection line. Glad to hear it. I assure you the defense is not desperate, Doctor. Mr. Naruhodo has established the facts using evidence and logic alone. Yeah, I'm like fucking Ben Shapiro up in here. I'm gonna destroy you with facts and logic. Ha! Logic. Don't make me laugh. Sadly, your logic has a gaping hole in it. What? What do you mean? I'd have thought it was obvious. A motive, boy. You're lacking a motive. What possible reason would I have to kill Mr. Asman? Asman was involved in any number of criminal activities, from coercion to theft to murder. But there is no known connection to Dr. Scythe there. I'm rather relieved to say it does seem somewhat far-fetched. True, there's no obvious motive, but there's still something in the back of my mind. I feel sure I've seen something somewhere that hints at why the coroner might have done this. Yes, I might have tampered with the crime scene and concocted a fake report, but murdering someone for no reason is a very different story.
Objection!
Yeah? Are you sure about that? No. When you question what possible reason you could have for wanting to kill Mr. Asman, something did come to mind. What? Well, what was it, Counsel? Enlighten the court at once. Yes, we saw it yesterday, didn't we? Something that seemed strange, but we had no reason to suspect it at the time. There's a particular object that explains why Dr. Scythe would have wanted to kill Mr. Asman. The iron mask, the screwdriver. God, everyone's online. Scalpels. What did we see yesterday that would explain that? I mean, we only have the iron mask and the screwdriver as evidence. We don't seem to have scalpels as evidence. I don't know. It's the iron mask. You've lost me. Huh? Sorry, Mr. Naruhodo, but why the iron mask? Well, I don't know, I'm just fucking spitballing, man. Well, of all the things I saw yesterday, it left the greatest impression, so... Clearly you have no idea what you're talking about. Ah! I think I must have said the wrong thing. Forgive the interruption, Dr. Scythe, but what my colleague meant to say was scalpels. Perhaps that makes a little more sense to you. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, the scalpels, I guess. Yeah, thanks, Suzato. You're a real one. Ah, of course. Did you say scalpels? Ah. It would appear that word has struck a chord, Doctor. You. Come on, out with it. It was yesterday, when we visited your laboratory. Look at this big, thick book here. Ah, it appears to be an accounting ledger. It's a record of the forensic investigation team's spending, I think. Oh? What is it? It's clear that the team purchases various equipment and supplies on a monthly basis, but, well, one entry seems rather strange. Really? In what way? They're buying 500 scalpels every month. Oh yeah, I do remember that now. But I mean, I remember that now that they pointed it out, but, you know, because the way these recordings work, like, it's probably been like a month in, like, real time since I visited Dr. Scythe's laboratory, so I didn't really remember exactly why scalpels would be important, and we didn't log it in our evidence, so, you know, I think that was an understandable mistake on my part. 500 scalpels? A month? I mean, I know she's a coroner, but that's a lot of scalpels. At first, I wondered what on earth he could be using that many scalpels for. But actually, I realize now it's not the scalpels themselves that are significant. It's the money for them, disappearing every month from the department's accounts. Asmund's criminal organization relied heavily on extortion for its funding. Tracing the money from the forensic investigation team's account to find out where it was going would be extremely straightforward. 10 years ago, when Mr. Asmund was still a journalist and wrote this article about Mr. Dreba, he may well have stumbled upon information as he was researching the story. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Information relating to Dr. Scythe's darkest secret that he would use to rack money from her for the next decade. Damn, it's pretty cold on his part. I mean, blackmailing someone for like a decade just for money? Like, that had to have sucked. Her darkest secret? Good lord. You mean, yeah, the whole fake autopsy report with the professor and stuff. I don't know what happened the night of that execution 10 years ago, but clearly the opportunity to rid yourself of that menace was too tempting to pass up. Otherwise, Enoch just disappear from the stand some half the time. So in the end, you weren't coerced at all, were you? You did it entirely of your own free will. You stabbed Mr. Asmund in the heart with all your might, to silence a blackmailer who knew your dark secret forever. You'll never understand. None of you. What we've had to keep covered up all these long years. Yeah, I can understand that being stressful, if nothing else. Wait, so what was Enoch's role in this again? Like, 'cause he seemed surprised at the idea that Courtney was the one who killed him, who killed Asmund, I mean, so, like, what was he? I mean, I know his role was, like, the balloon shit, which I still don't entirely understand, but anyway. As very little of the machine remains, maybe they'll explain some of it, after it was ripped apart by the bomb, the truth of this case can never be properly established unless you speak out. And if you decide not to, it's very possible that Courtney Scythe will escape punishment for her crimes. Please, sir, own up to what you've done, and tell the court the truth about what happened. "10 years ago, you told the truth, and you were robbed of a bright and successful future as a result. I can certainly understand your bitterness and your consternation now. However, this is surely the chance you've been waiting for, to sever the hold that fate's had over you all these years." Super high voltage instantaneous kinesis. I mean, really? It's the addle-brained mock scientists that are the worst, you know? They don't recognize the fact that they don't have talent. They can't even get that right. And so they end up chasing impossible dreams, having unbridled faith in their abilities. They go on and on about their wonderful hypotheses, their stupid eyes shining like a little child's. I feel like he's referring to our boy Hairbrain, probably. They make me sick. I can't abide their foolishness. Careful, Mr. Rebba. Don't want to break the desk. That's polished mahogany, you know. I was particularly pleased with the Kinesis machine. It made for quite a show, didn't it? So you admit it. So you admit it. Yeah, about time. We spent all this time trying to get you to talk, but, you know... You admit that it was nothing more than a sham made for the purpose of killing the victim. Yes, I admit it. I did it all in the name of revenge. So did you coerce Courtney? Like, because if you didn't actually coerce her into cooperating, how did you interact with her? Exactly? I mean, how did the scheme come along, I mean? Revenge for the future that Mr. Assman's article had deprived you of 10 years earlier. But the revenge you sought didn't stop at Assman, did it? Which is where that very particular waxwork comes in. Yes, I see. The condemned convict that you saw rising from the grave in Lowgate Cemetery 10 years ago. If your account of those events was all true, then obviously Scotland Yard couldn't afford to acknowledge what had happened. Even if it meant discrediting a bright young man and crushing any future career he might have had. So your plan required that you abduct that particular waxwork model in order to exact your revenge on Scotland Yard as well. Or on Dr. Scythe, to be precise. Okay, so you did coerce her into cooperating in the first place, but her deciding to do the murder herself was, I guess, you know, a diversion from the original plan. It was a year ago. By some extraordinary twist of fate, Assman turned up at my workshop. He didn't remember who I was, of course. He just wanted to employ my services as an engineer. Okay, really? I feel like that's kind of an oversight on his part. I feel like you shouldn't probably forget someone who you kind of screwed over, and you know, whose career you kind of ruined. Unless, you know, the whole idea is that, you know, Assman ruined a lot of people's lives over the years, and so he couldn't remember each individual guy. And he happened to have a paper with him. An article on the front page caught my eye. About the coroner who handled that bogus autopsy, being appointed head of a new forensic team. When I learned that news, my cognitive processes started to devise the plan. What a horrid tale. He robbed me of my future, so I wanted to use a man's own wiles against him. For revenge. and have that rotten Scotland Yard eating out of my hand at the same time. I wanted them all to suffer the same humiliation that I'd had to suffer. Yeah, I can definitely understand your feelings, even though you went to some pretty extreme links to do so. Your actions against those who'd ruined your future were justified as revenge, at least to yourself. Certainly, no one has a right to destroy another's prospect, especially for purely selfish gain. And yet, in carrying out your plan, you did exactly that to someone else, didn't you? Did I? Professor Harebrain's only crime was passion for his hypothesis. Yeah, I mean, in the process of, constructing this whole elaborate scheme, you kind of you potentially ruined another young scientist's career the same way that your own career was ruined. Isn't that ironic, don't you think, Mr. Drebber? But you had no compunction about sacrificing his future to effect your revenge. You knew that he would be forever branded a failure and a fraud. Perhaps life treated you unfairly 10 years ago, and others' misconduct left your life in tatters. But remember this. Your own actions resulted in exactly the same thing for another perfectly innocent young man. Yeah, he's right, I... Damn, you're not even gonna say anything beyond just I? Well, I guess that speaks for itself. Boy, that was pretty stark stuff. But also, is this gonna be like a recurring theme throughout these games? Like people who have been unjustly, who basically, who had shit, done bad to them. So they end up becoming as bad as the people that they were trying to get revenge on in the process. Because, I mean, we had that with Enoch, just now. In the first case of this second game, there was, Mini Memo, who, if you remember, he had some justified grievances with the Japanese government and also the British government and also just the British in general, but more specifically Giselle Bread. Like, that lady had it coming, let's be real. And then also there was Ashley Graydon in the last game. They made a point of pointing out that in the process of getting revenge on McGilded, he had become almost just as bad as McGilded in the process. So like, I don't know, I wonder if that's going to be a recurring motif throughout these games, because this is like the third time now. An immediate warrant for her arrest has been granted, and she's been remanded in custody, my lord. I presume she will face trial in the coming days, along with Mr. Drebber. A most regrettable situation indeed. I mean, yeah, it's kind of a sucky situation for everyone involved. She's made great contributions to her profession over the years. It really is a hard pill to swallow. However, that is a topic for some future occasion. For now, Professor Harebrain. Hey, hi, I'm still here. I'm relevant. I might as well have evaporated from the background for the past couple hours because it really didn't have anything to do with me. But I'm here, and also, but I will say they did tie in Enoch's actions and how they affected Harebrain to how Enoch was treated. So, that was a nice little ironic parallel. Oh, yes. It seems there was a great deal more to your experiment than you realized. However, I think we can assume now that all the sordid details have been brought to light. This has been a very long and profound trial, but I'm pleased to say you are absolved of all guilt. Yeah, boy, has it been a long trial. Feels like I've been at this one for a while, but it's nice to see where it's finally starting to wrap up. This whole experience has taught me a very great but painful lesson. Don't trust people with white hair. Frankly, if I see another white-haired person, I'm just gonna turn the other way and pretend I didn't notice it, because clearly, trusting them is only gonna lead you down a painful road. me, this dedicated scientist, this devotee of natural philosophy. I've been selfish and self-centered, and above all, a fool. Professor. I mean, I wouldn't say you've been selfish, well, I guess your passion for your hypothesis, it was genuine, but I guess it was kind of selfish in its own way. But you were pretty foolish, I can't deny that. I've spent my life thinking of nothing but my research, misguidedly believing that I could do whatever I set my mind to, despite my lack of talent. And the worst of it is, in the process, I've caused others pain and misery. Others who are far, far greater people than I. Wait, who are you talking about now? You were slightly obnoxious yesterday, but I wouldn't say you've caused me pain and misery, but, you know. No, Professor, that's not true. What? Don't tar yourself with the same brush as Trevor. What happened was his doing, and his alone. This outcome is his fate, not yours. You're not to blame in any way. Wow, that's surprisingly heartfelt coming from you. But I guess you guys are friends. Strange as that might still seem. Lord Van Sykes! And the derision with which he referred to you earlier, calling you a fool, talentless even. The man has no idea. To believe in yourself and work your fingers to the bone to realize your dreams. That's laudable, not laughable. Damn. Look at fucking Van Sykes with the fucking pep talks and the motivational speeches. Ugh, I wouldn't have expected it, but I guess he managed to surprise me even now. No one has a right to deride another for such choices. Oh. Thank you, Barack. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Yes, my lord. It is this court's expectation that you find the defendant not guilty of the crime for which he stands accused. And imagine they were just like, no, actually, I still find him guilty. I just don't like him. And, like, that was just the end of it. I presume there are no objections. None for me, my lord. None for me. I don't remember what voice I did for him. It was pretty generic, either way. Certainly not. This trial has really made me think. But this is the right decision. It's all been proven methodically and rigorously. I have no misgivings whatsoever. Huh? What's that? He's done, is he? It's all over? I don't know what's become of the yard these days. I don't recognize the place. Yeah, clearly he's not very happy. But I assume he agrees. Very well. In that case, I hereby pronounce the defendant not motherfucking guilty. That's how we do it in fucking London town. Yeah, throw them fireworks off. I earned those fucking fireworks. We've had to go through a long and winding road just to get here, so I'm damn right I'm gonna enjoy those fireworks. But, speaking of fireworks and other such things, I'm gonna have to wrap things up. I know that doesn't relate to anything what I was saying. Well, rather, okay, let me try that again. As this trial is being ended, so too shall I end this episode. See, that's a better transition. But yeah, I'm wrapping things up for now. We've reached a good length, and also ending at the end of the trial, the proper ending, feels like a natural conclusion for now. I know there's going to be stuff wrapping up, like, you know, the epilogue and stuff, and we can say that for the next episode. But for now, the proper trial is done. We got Dr. Scythe dead to rights. Enoch finally admitted his misdoings, and yeah, it was pretty well done. I definitely enjoyed it, and even Hairbrain, who was kind of a non-factor this whole second day. We got some time to lift his spirits up too, so that was nice. But yeah, for now though, I'm gonna have to say goodbye. In the next episode, we'll handle the loose ends, tie those up, and probably lead into the next episode to the next case. But for now, I'll see you around.